In a world ruled by air superiority, one jet was never meant to be seen, never meant to be heard, and yet it might soon dominate the skies. A black shadow rises from the east. It's not the J-20, it's not the Chengdu Dragon. It's something far more secretive, something far more dangerous. They call it the Shenyang FC-31, codename J-35, built not just to fly, but to disappear. Stealth, power, mystery, and a mission that could change the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific forever. This is the untold story of China's most ambitious stealth jet project, a story that begins in silence. Shenyang Aircraft Corporation, a name known to few, but behind locked hangars and restricted skies, they were working on something the world wasn't ready for. It was 2012. The West had the F-22 Raptor. Russia was showing off its Su-57. And China had ambition. Chengdu was already developing the J-20, a heavy stealth fighter. But the People's Liberation Army Navy wanted something different, something lighter, faster, carrier-capable. That's when the whispers began about a new jet, unmarked, unconfirmed, and untraceable. It was called Project 310. No serial number, no official designation, just a dark silhouette being tested in Shenyang. This was the first glimpse of what would become the FC-31 Gerfalcon. But here's the twist. It wasn't originally built for the Chinese military. It was built for export. China had a plan. Make a fifth-generation stealth fighter. Offer it to countries that couldn't buy the F-35. Create demand. Make a mark. But there was a problem. The FC-31 had no buyer. No country stepped forward. No contract was signed. And the jet faded into the background. For years, it remained a ghost. But ghosts have a way of coming back. And this one came back stronger. By 2018, the People's Liberation Army Navy had a problem. Their carriers were advancing. Their naval aviation was evolving. But they had no stealth jet to match it. The J-20 was too big, too heavy for carrier decks. They needed a stealth fighter that could take off from a ship, land on a moving runway, fold its wings, evade radar. So they went back to Shenyang, to the Ghost, to the FC-31. And this time it was reborn, redesigned, refined, re-engineered, and given a new name, J-35. This was no longer a jet for export. It was a weapon for dominance. Design evolution of FC-31 to J-35. Advanced stealth capabilities, carrier compatibility features, engine secrets and future upgrades. FC-31 versus F-35. How they really compare. Global implications. Is the U.S. worried? The reborn FC-31 didn't look like its old self. It was leaner, sharper, deadlier. Its body was reshaped for stealth. Angles were realigned. Radar reflective surfaces were reduced. The cockpit canopy was redesigned. The air intakes repositioned. The tail fins reshaped to match Western stealth jets. But one of the biggest changes? The wings. Not just bigger, but foldable. The J-35 wasn't just built to fly. It was built to fly from an aircraft carrier. That meant it had to survive brutal takeoffs, high-impact landings, turbulent seas, salt wind corrosion, and still vanish from enemy radar. China wasn't building a jet. They were building Phantom. From the outside, the J-35 looked like a shadow, but on the inside, it was a digital beast. The cockpit featured large panoramic touchscreen displays, helmet-mounted sights, advanced radar systems, possibly ASA, sensor fusion to process battlefield data in real time. Its electronic warfare suite was upgraded, its infrared targeting system improved, and its communication systems were designed for full network warfare. China wanted a jet that could jam enemy radars, feed target data to ships and drones, vanish and strike before being seen. The F-35 was once the gold standard. Now, China wanted its answer. There's one thing that defines a jet's future: its engine. And here, the FC-31 faced its greatest challenge. The early prototypes used Russian RD-93 engines, the same ones used in Pakistan's JF-17. Reliable but loud, powerful but not stealthy, and not Chinese-made. But China had been working quietly, developing a new engine, WS-19, a stealthy turbofan, low infrared signature, high thrust-to-weight ratio, and, most importantly, made in China. The J-35's future would depend on the WS-19, and if successful, it would finally make China independent in fifth-generation fighter technology. Now let's talk suspense. The real question: can the FC-31 match the F-35? Let's break it down. Feature F-35 Lightning II FC-31/J-35. Origin USA China. Stealth combat proven, still developing. Engine Pratt & Whitney F-135 WS-19 in testing. Network warfare NATO integrated, PLA integrated. Combat experience, yes, none, yet export orders 17 plus nations, none confirmed. The F-35 has been tested, battle hardened, connected to a global alliance. The FC-31 is still a shadow. But here's the twist. China doesn't need the J-35 to beat the F-35. It just needs it to be good enough. Good enough to protect the South China Sea, to dominate Taiwan's airspace, to patrol aircraft carriers without being seen. And in warfare, sometimes good enough wins. China never officially acknowledged the FC-31 for years. No press releases, no airshow stunts, no loud PR. Why? Because the jet wasn't for headlines. It was for tactics. By the time the world realized the FC-31 was real, it was already being tested on carriers. By the time analysts predicted its capabilities, China had already upgraded it. This is classic Chinese doctrine. Hide your strength, bide your time. And the FC-31? It is the perfect example. China's newest aircraft carriers, Type 003 for Gen, are electromagnetic beasts. They're built for catapult launches, like the American Gerald R. Ford class. And for a jet to launch from it, it must be stealthy, fast, and strong. That's where the J-35 steps in. It's being tested for carrier takeoffs. Landing gear reinforced for deck slams. Tail hooks integrated. Wings redesigned to fold under carrier elevators. China's future carrier groups won't fly just J-15s anymore. They'll fly J-35s. And with that, China joins the elite club of carrier-based stealth fighter operators. The U.S. has the F-35C. Now China has a J-35. 4 years, the FC-31 was a myth. Just CGI renders, blurred photos, speculations on military forums. Then something changed. 2021. Satellite images from Liaoning province showed a jet parked near mock carrier decks. Dark gray, twin engines, foldable wings. It wasn't the J-15. Soon after, grainy cell phone footage emerged. A stealth jet taking off with catapult force, landing with arrestor cables, its body unmistakable. The FC-31 was real, and it was being tested, not in secret anymore, but in broad daylight. Why? Because the time for hiding was over. The world needed to see and fear it. As the FC-31 stepped out of the shadows, militaries around the world turned their eyes east. United States. The Pentagon watched closely. They knew the FC-31 wasn't just an imitation. It was a declaration. America's F-35C was the only carrier-based stealth jet in the world. Until now, the J-35 challenged that monopoly. And while the F-35 still had the edge in software, sensors, and alliances, China had something more dangerous: momentum. Japan ramped up F-35B acquisitions, boosted air defense radar systems, and tightened naval patrols near disputed waters. They knew if the J-35 flew from Chinese carriers near the East China Sea, Tokyo could be in its sights. India watched with rising concern. China's growing air power, combined with carrier strike groups, pose a real threat in the Indian Ocean. In response, India accelerated the development of its own stealth project, AMCA. But AMCA was still years away. Meanwhile, the J-35 was already on deck. Modern air combat isn't just about speed or stealth. It's about intelligence. China's J-35 is rumored to be integrated into the PLA's AI-driven command systems. Imagine this: a swarm of drones controlled by a single J-35 pilot. Real-time data from satellites fed directly into the cockpit. Enemy jets marked and tracked before they even realize they're being hunted. The J-35 isn't just a fighter. It's a node in a digital battlefield. The future of war is software. And China, they're building the code for dominance. Let's look ahead. By 2030, China plans to operate 3 aircraft carriers, fully deploy the J-35 in naval squadrons, upgrade J-31 export variants for allied nations, challenge the U.S. in every arena: land, sea, air, and space. This isn't just about the South China Sea. It's about global influence. And the FC-31 is at the center of that strategy, not as a showpiece, but as a workhorse of the future, a shadow in the sky, a shape that doesn't appear on radar, a fighter that doesn't announce its arrival. You won't hear it, you won't see it, but it's there, somewhere in the clouds over the Pacific, hiding, watching, waiting. The Shenyang FC-31, the J-35, the silent hunter of the East, built not for show, but for the day the storm comes. And when that day comes, this jet won't roar. It will whisper, and the world will listen. If you love fighter jets, then like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.